Do you ever feel like a fraud? Like it's just a matter of time before everyone finds out that you're not really as smart, talented, or capable as they thought you were? Do you ever worry that someone's going to show up and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you don't belong here? Despite the many achievements you've made and all the positive feedback in the world, you brush this aside and convince yourself that you've succeeded by pure luck and that you don't actually know what you're doing. If this sounds a little bit like the way you think, you'd be surprised to learn that feeling like a fraud is actually much more common than you may think. Psychologists have been researching this term since the 1970s and call it the imposter syndrome. The term was coined by psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes. In the 1978 article, they wrote, "Despite outstanding professional and academic accomplishments, women who experience the imposter syndrome persist in believing that they're really not bright and have fooled everyone who thinks otherwise. Numerous achievements, which one might expect to provide ample objective evidence of superior intellectual functioning, do not appear to affect the imposter belief." Sometimes you might feel like the only person in the world who could feel this way, but many people do experience imposter syndrome, so you're not alone in this thinking. Imposter syndrome is said to be more common in women, particularly high achievers. However, many men report experiencing imposter syndrome as well. And imposter syndrome is usually associated with an external attribution style. And what this means is that when something good happens, or we have a win or a success, someone with an external attribution style would attribute that success to good luck or external factors. So let's say I got really good feedback from a task at work. I might just think, well, my boss was just having a good day, or maybe it was because my colleague helped me. That's why I did well. Or, oh, my lucky day, I managed to fluke it this time again. So that's an external attribution style. In comparison, an internal attribution style is when something good happens, we attribute that to our own hard work and effort. So if I did well on a work task, I'd be like, yeah, I worked really hard on that. I did a lot of research to make sure this project went really well. And I see that success as being due to me, not due to just plain luck. So when you're feeling like an imposter, this can change the way that you relate to the world. Feelings of fraudulence can lead us to try and overcompensate through developing maybe perfectionistic tendencies or taking on more tasks than we need to try and prove our worth. So say, for example, if I believe that I'm an imposter and I shouldn't really be here at work, I might take on extra projects. I might stay back and work extra hard so that nobody finds out that I'm really incompetent. But this could leave me feeling exhausted and sad and tired and feed into that same cycle of not really believing that I'm good enough. If I believe that I only got where I am because of pure luck, I'd probably be pretty likely to avoid other opportunities or challenges for fear that people would see that I'm not really as smart as they think I am. I wouldn't want to ruin that reputation I have by taking on another risk or challenge. But then in turn, when we self-limit, this proves to ourselves that we aren't capable of taking on more, and it kind of becomes a bit of a vicious cycle. So if you're experiencing feelings of fraudulence, there's a chance this could be holding you back from achieving goals and taking on challenges. So it's really important to work on. So next I'm going to share 4 simple tips that you can try to let go of those feelings of imposter syndrome. Mindfully notice and let go of self-limiting beliefs and unhelpful thinking. We have many thoughts that stop us from taking on challenges or opportunities. We might have negative thoughts telling us we're not good enough or we're going to be found out. It's very important to notice these thoughts, but let them go. They can be there, but you don't have to buy into them. Try and hold on to these thoughts a little less tightly. You might even just say to yourself, I'm having the thought that I don't belong here, and gently let it go. Work on changing your attribution style. So if you are someone who has a bit of an external attribution style, you're probably attributing your successes to luck rather than hard work. It's time to go back and reflect in a more accurate way on your successes. So think back to a recent goal or challenge that you took on, maybe a work project, for example. So go back and think of all the steps that you had to take to make that project happen. Were there different things that you had to learn along the way? Were there things you had to achieve to complete the project? Write all that down and take some time to genuinely reflect on the hard work that you put into that project and realize that that's different from just pure luck. Reflect on your achievement and celebrate your successes. If you have imposter syndrome, then you've probably learned to casually ignore and explain away all of your successes. But I'm sure if we were to look back in an objective way, that you've had many wins and many achievements over your career so far. So spend a bit of time looking back and reflecting about how you got where you are. Did you have to study at uni or do a TAFE course? Do you do lots of CPD, or are you part of networking groups? Are you constantly learning? Do you put in a lot of time to your projects and work? Go back and spend some time reflecting and write down a list of some of your key accomplishments, and if you can, spend a bit of time celebrating those wins rather than trying to explain them away. Change your mindset about what success looks like. Often we do have setbacks, or maybe we have a project or some kind of task that doesn't turn out with the outcome that we were hoping for. Changing our mindset about success means looking at failure as the process of learning and mastery rather than just the outcome. And this can be really tough. If something doesn't turn out well, often we beat ourselves up and say, oh, it's because I wasn't smart enough, or it's because I'm not good enough. But actually, maybe you put many hours of work into the project. Maybe you really pushed yourself to do better. Maybe you learned something along the way. So go back and think about all those steps and all the mastery that you gained, rather than just the outcome of that particular task. Open up and share your experience with others. Wow, it can sound really scary sharing these kind of experiences and thoughts with others and actually saying out loud, I feel like a fraud. But you would be so surprised how many friends, colleagues, family members have felt exactly the same way. Sometimes being a little bit vulnerable and sharing this experience with others is a great way to connect and feel validated that actually you're probably not alone in this, and that many others actually can relate. This is going to help you to realize that this is a normal experience and that you can overcome it. Fake it till you make it. Look, you might have these thoughts telling you that you're not good enough. You don't have to feel confident on the inside, but sometimes if we fake it on the outside for long enough, we actually do start to believe that we are confident. This might be little changes like changing our body language. When we're having thoughts telling us we're not good enough or we don't belong here, it's likely that in our body language is going to change. We might make ourselves smaller. We might avoid eye contact with people because we don't want them to look at us or acknowledge us. So do the opposite of this. Walk into a room like you deserve to be there. Stand up tall, shoulders back. Keep your eye contact. Keep your tone of voice up. All of these things are going to make you appear more confident, even if you're not feeling it on the inside. Practice breaking unhelpful patterns of behaviour. If you're staying back at work till 10 o'clock every night and never saying no to anything just to prove that you're competent, long term, the risk is that you're going to feel burnt out and exhausted. It's really important that you challenge these kind of beliefs through changing your behaviour. So if you can, finish work at normal time. Practice saying no to things, and often when we do this, we realize that others do still take us seriously and do value us, even if we don't do this excessive extra work that we've been taking on. Thanks for watching today's episode of Pop Therapy TV. I hope that these tips can help you let go of feelings of being an imposter. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you could subscribe so that you never miss another Pop Therapy video again. Thanks guys, bye!